aita for telling my stepdaughter to stop using period products in the bathroom she shares with my teenage sons. Alright, so I'm genuinely torn here and I need some outside perspective because my wife and stepdaughter are acting like I'm a bad guy, and I'm starting to wonder if I'm missing something. For context, I'm a 42-year-old guy, remarried about 6 months ago to my wife, Lisa, 39, who has a 19-year-old daughter, Emily. I've got 3 sons, Jake, 18, Ethan, 16, and Noah, 15, from my previous marriage. We're all living together in my house, which have been a big adjustment for everyone. Emily's dad isn't in the picture, and my son's mom hasn't been around since they were little, so it's just us trying to make this blended family thing work. So far, it's been mostly okay, but this bathroom situation has me heated, and I need to know if I'm the asshole here. Let me set the scene. My house is decent size, but it's not a mansion. We've got 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, one for me and Lisa, and one that all 4 kids share. Yeah, I know, for teenagers and 1 bathroom sounds like a recipe for disaster, but we've made it work. The kids are generally good about keeping it clean, taking turns, all that. Emily's a great kid, honestly. She's almost 20, in her 2nd year of college, super responsible, and she gets along great with my boys. She's even helped Jake with some college application stuff, and she's always joking around with Ethan and Noah about their video games or whatever. I really like having her around. She's smart, funny, and a good influence. My sons, on the other hand, are typical teenage boys. They're not perfect. Jake's a bit moody, Ethan's obsessed with his skateboard, and Noah's always got his nose in a book. But they're good kids too. None of them have ever lived with a woman full-time before, though, which is where this whole issue starts. See, my ex-wife wasn't around much even when we were married. She had her own issues, and after we split, she only saw the boys for short visits, like an hour here or there, and even that stopped when they were young. So my sons have basically been raised in a house full of dudes. I've done my best as a single dad, but I'll admit, I'm not exactly an expert on women's stuff. Like, I know periods are a thing, obviously, but it's not something I've ever had to deal with in my house until Lisa and Emily moved in. Lisa's got her own bathroom, so no issues there, but Emily shares the kids' bathroom, and that's where this whole thing blew up. About a week ago, Jay came to me after dinner, looking all awkward, which is rare for him because he's usually pretty chill. He's like, "Dad, can I talk to you about something kind of weird?" I'm thinking he's about to confess to breaking something or failing a test, but instead, he tells me he's uncomfortable with how Emily's been handling her period stuff in the bathroom. Apparently, she's been tossing her used sanitary pads and tampons in the trash, can they all share, but she's not wrapping them up or anything. Like, they're just sitting there, plain as day, when he goes to throw out his own stuff. He said it grosses him out and makes him feel weird, especially since it's a stepsister. I asked if Ethan and Noah felt the same, and he said yeah, they've talked about it and they're all kind of creeped out but didn't know how to bring it up. I gotta be honest, I totally get where they're coming from. I mean, they're teenage boys, 18, 16, and 15. They're not used to this stuff. They've never had sisters or long-term girlfriends, so seeing their stepsister's period products in the trash is probably a lot for them to process. I don't think they're being dramatic or anything. It's just not something they're comfortable with. And yeah, I know periods are natural and all that, but I don't think it's unreasonable for them to want a little discretion, you know? Like, wrap it up in some toilet paper or something so it's not just staring at them when they're brushing their teeth. So, I figured I'd handle it like an adult and talk to Emily directly. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. Just a quick, "Hey, can you be a bit more careful?" kind of thing. A few nights ago, I was grabbing a late-night snack in the kitchen, and Emily was there at the table, working on some assignment for her biology class. Lisa had mentioned earlier that Emily was on her period, so I thought, okay, this is a good time to bring it up since we're alone and it's casual. I didn't want to embarrass her or anything, so I tried to keep it light. I said something like, "Hey, Emily, I wanted to mention something." Jake came to me and said he's a bit uncomfortable with how you're disposing of your sanitary stuff in the bathroom. Maybe you could wrap them up in toilet paper or use a bag or something, or even flush them, just to make it less awkward for the boys. I thought I was being reasonable, but Emily just laughed, like full-on chuckled in my face. Then she goes, "That's rich, coming from a man who sheds like a gorilla and has 3 skid-marking sons." I was floored. Like what? First off, I'm not that hairy, And even if I was, what does that have to do with anything? And calling my boys skid marking was just uncalled for. They're teenagers. They're not perfect at laundry, sure, but that's a low blow. I've been nothing but nice to her since she moved in. Helped her set up her desk, drove her to campus when her car was in the shop, even bought her favorite snacks when I'm at the store. So for her to come at me like that felt like a slap in the face. I tried to stay calm and said, "Look, I'm just asking for a little consideration. The boys aren't used to this, and it makes them uncomfortable." But she doubled down, saying tampons and pads can't be flushed because it's bad for plumbing, and using plastic bags for everyone is terrible for the environment. She went on this whole spiel about how periods are normal and the boys need to get over it, and how she's been managing her period for 10 years and doesn't need me telling her what to do. I'll admit I got annoyed. I told her it's not about her period being normal or not. It's about basic hygiene and respecting the people she shares a bathroom with. Then I said something dumb. I called her a scruff and told her this is my house, so what I say goes. Yeah, I know, not my finest moment, but I was frustrated. She just rolled her eyes, grabbed her laptop, and walked out of the kitchen. I figured I'd let it go for the night and talk to Lisa about it instead. So later, when we were getting ready for bed, I told Lisa what happened and asked if she could talk to Emily about being more discreet. Lisa looked at me like I'd grown a second head and said, "You're being ridiculous. Emily's been dealing with her period since she was 10. She knows what she's doing." I explained that it's not about Emily's expertise, it's about my son's comfort. But Lisa just said, "Your boys need to get a grip. It's a bathroom, not a museum." Then she turned over and went to sleep, like the conversation was over. I was so pissed. I mean, I get that she's backing her daughter, but this is a real issue for my kids, and she didn't even want to talk about it. The next morning, I tried again with Emily. She was in the living room, scrolling on her phone, and I said, "Hey, can we talk about the bathroom thing again? I'm serious, it's bothering the boys." She didn't even look up from her phone, just said, "You're being so silly. It's not a big deal." I tried to explain that it's a big deal to them, but she just shrugged and went back to her phone. I walked away feeling like I was talking to a brick wall. Lisa's no help, Emily's dismissing me, and I'm starting to feel like the bad guy for even bringing it up. But am I? I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for a little discretion when 4 people are sharing a bathroom. It's not like I'm telling her she can't have her period or anything crazy. I just want her to wrap her stuff up so my sons don't have to see it. Is that so much to ask? For some extra context, I've been trying really hard to make this blended family thing work. When Lisa and Emily moved in, I rearranged the whole house to make space for them. I gave Emily the biggest bedroom because she's in college and needs a desk for studying. I've never asked her to chip in for bills or anything, even though she's technically an adult. I even let her borrow my car a few times when hers was acting up. My sons have been pretty good about the transition too. They've never complained about sharing the bathroom until now, and they get along with Emily for the most part. So it's not like there's some big family feud going on. This is just one issue that's driving me up the wall. I did some Googling after the kitchen incident, and yeah, Emily's right that you're not supposed to flush tampons or pads because it can mess up the plumbing. Okay, fine, I'll give her that. But the plastic bag thing? I don't buy that it's that bad for the environment. I mean, we're not talking about single-handedly destroying the planet here. Just using a small bag to wrap things up. I even suggested diaper bags because I saw them at the store and thought they'd be discreet, but she acted like I was asking her to burn down a forest. I feel like she's just making excuses because she doesn't want to change how she does things. I talked to Jake again yesterday to see if he's still bothered, and he said, yeah, it's still weird for him and his brothers. He said they've been trying to avoid the trash can altogether, which is ridiculous. They shouldn't feel like they can't use their own bathroom. I'm not trying to shame Emily or make her feel bad about her body or whatever, but I don't think my son should have to deal with this either. It's about respect, right? We all have to make compromises when we're living together. At this point, I'm stuck. Lisa and Emily are acting like I'm some uptight jerk, but I feel like I'm just standing up for my kids. I'm not saying Emily's a bad person. She's not. She's great 99% of the time. But this one thing is driving a wedge, and I don't know how to fix it without causing a bigger fight. So, Reddit, aita for telling my stepdaughter to be more discreet with her period products? Or are my wife and stepdaughter right that I'm making a big deal out of nothing? Update, Posted a few hours after the original. Okay, wow, I wasn't expecting things to move this fast. Not even 2 hours after I posted this, Lisa and Emily sat me and the boys down for what they called a Periods for Pricks crash course, PowerPoint presentation and all. I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical at first, but it was actually kind of a hoot. They had slides about what periods are, why they happen, how to dispose of products properly, and even some stats about how common it is for people to feel weird about it at first. Guess that's us. They made it interactive with a little quiz at the end. Ethan got super competitive and was mad when Noah got more questions right than him. LOL. Emily explained that she's always just tossed her stuff in the trash because that's what she's used to, and she didn't realize it was making the boys uncomfortable. She apologized for the gorilla and skid mark comments. She said she was just trying to be funny, but it came out mean. The boys apologized too for not saying anything directly to her. They admitted they were too embarrassed. Lisa and Emily also agreed to get a trash can with a lid for the bathroom, which should help with the awkwardness. I apologized for calling Emily a scruff and pulling the My House, My Rules card. It was a dumb thing to say, and I feel like an idiot for it. I gotta say, I learned a lot, and so did the boys. Turns out periods aren't as mysterious or gross as we thought. They're just a thing that happens, and we need to get over ourselves. I'm glad we talked it out, even if it took a PowerPoint to get there. Thanks for the comments and messages. They really helped me see I was being a bit of a tool about this. We're all good now, and I'm feeling a lot better about how we're navigating this blended family thing.